All right, so in this video, I'm just gonna be going over the bare bones basic of the concept of aid climbing. So generally, aid climbing is done when the free climbing is so difficult, it is thought to be impossible to do. Now, I say thought to be because lots of aid lines these days get repeated by very strong climbers and are now free climbs. So this is just the bare basics. I'm not gonna go in depth about my belay system because this is a solo aid system. There'll be another video coming out about that, but this is just the bare basic. So I'm gonna go down the line and just give a quick overview of what I'm wearing. So first we have our aiders. We have a left, so these are called adjustable aiders. We have a left and a right aider connected to my belay loop, right? We have an aid ladder. We have two aid ladders, like this. And then we have a chest harness. So a lot of times on A3 pitches and harder pitches like that, I generally just always wear an aid chest harness because this can be great for taking rests. You can clip into the rope like this. So this is a full strength master point for my chest, not my harness. And whenever you're on lots of long, big pitches, this can be a vital piece of gear because you're gonna have a ton of gear. So it's great to be able to distribute the weight on your harness and your chest and your shoulders. Another thing that you can see I'm wearing the Metolius Waldo harness. So this harness is pretty thick, pretty heavy and wide. So you can see we have a belay loop, or not a belay loop, a haul loop. We have two belay loops. So you can tell this is just a big wall / aid harness. One thing I will mention though, this only has one gear loop on each side and one on the back. And that is because I just have a really skinny waist. So this is the only aid harness that fits me. So going back to the chest harness, that's why I really love to have a chest harness. So let's get right into the basics. So first things first, we are gonna place our first piece. So in this situation, we're gonna be using this pecker as our first piece. So first thing we're gonna do, and it does not matter what the piece is necessarily, we're just gonna use it as for demonstrative purposes. So we're gonna clip, a big part about aid is getting up as high as you can, as fast as you can, because over a big wall, a few inches per piece can make a huge difference and it adds up. So first things first, we're gonna clip our aider into the highest point that we can get into that will make the piece good. Now we're gonna take our daisy chain, or whatever you want to call it, clip it in, and let's fix up our aider here. It's a little crossed up, and we're gonna get on it. Now I know this piece is good because I placed it and I hammered it in. Yeah, it's probably good. So now that we're on the piece and we're stood up, we're gonna place our first piece of gear. So we wanna look at this crack here. So in this example, I have a Z4. We're gonna wanna place, oh, looks like it's a little too small, so we can put this back. Let's see. All right, so we will be placing a dragonfly. Look at that. So our dragonfly fits well in there. We are gonna take this dragonfly. We can take our next aider, clip it in. Instead of clipping it into the sling like you would when you're free climbing, we're gonna wanna clip it into the thumb loop. Now you're gonna take your next daisy chain, clip it into the carabiner here, pull that sucker tight, and we can do what's called a bounce test. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our foot in the aider of the top piece and a foot in the bottom, or in the aider of the piece that you're on. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna stand up on the piece, putting our weight on it, but still having our aider tight on our lower piece. So if this fails, we just sit right back down on our lower piece. So we're gonna stand on it, see how the piece reacts, if it's a cam, maybe give it little slight bounces, and just continue to aggressively bounce it until you're satisfied with it being good. So now what we can do is we can put our whole body weight on it, come off of our lower piece. We can open up our daisy chain, take this bottom piece, clip it to our harness, take a quick draw, clip our lead rope into it. That's good. Okay, now what we're gonna pull up into it, stand up on it. It's good, we've already tested it. We know it's good. Next, what we're gonna do is just continue the process. All right, so now that you can see I'm on top of this piece, you're pretty much just gonna keep repeating this process till you get to the top of the cliff. Once you get to the top, you can create an anchor, fix your lead line, and have your follower come up and clean the pitch. And that's literally just the basics of it. It's very simple. You just gotta be careful. Make sure you bounce test everything, unless it's like, for example, if you find like a copper head, which is a nut that is made of copper that you pound into the wall and shape to the rock, you don't want to bounce test that. You just want to stand on it, give it some gingerly, maybe a slight bounce, and if it stays, just get on it, because if you bounce test it, chances are, if you didn't place it, it's just going to come out. So, yeah.